So welcome to everybody who's here today in person and to everybody who's visiting us from home. We, the Unitarians of Lake Norman, are an open and inclusive congregation. Our members walk diverse paths to find meaning and purpose, but we're united by our belief in the inherent worth and dignity of all, and by the responsibility to express our faith through acts of justice and compassion. My name is Karen Abrams, and Andy and I joined this congregation last year and have been active Unitarians since 1984. As I mentioned, our musician today is Mike Alec, and our speaker today is Pat Jobe, who is going to rant about, I don't want to be sane if this is crazy, or if this is crazy, I don't want to be sane. Anyway, so this will be interesting. Anyway, we're going to start our services by lighting our chalice. Please join me in saying our chalice lighting words, which are in your order of service. And in practice. In our search for truth, may we trust. In our search for justice, may we be loving. And in loving, may we find peace. And Pat, will you please share our opening words?
Yes, ma'am. I have lots and lots of opening words this morning, but I also want to add my word of welcome to Karen, who lives in Cornelius. No pressure, Karen. No pressure. In St. Louis, which I think was in 2002. Yeah. And I asked her if she'd ever heard Meg Barnhouse, and she said, yes, I heard Meg Barnhouse at General Assembly in St. Louis. And I said, I was on stage with her. And Joyce did not say, well, I remember Meg, but I don't remember you. So I was very grateful for that. And where is Kat? Kat, we want to welcome you too. We're so glad you're here. Thanks for coming. Our opening words our first group of opening words come from Jack Kerouac. In his book, On the Road, he wrote, the only people for me are the mad ones. The ones who are mad to live, mad to talk, mad to be saved, desirous of everything at the same time. The ones who never yawn or say a commonplace thing, but burn, 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 like fabulous Roman candles, exploding like spiders across the stars. And in the middle, you see the blue light, center light pop, and everybody goes, ah. And our second set of opening words come from Maya Angelou. If you must look back, do so forgivingly. If you must look forward, do so prayerfully. However, the wisest thing that you can do is to be present in the present, gratefully.
And now Mike will play our centering music.
Lord have mercy. What a guitar player. I want to remind you all that next Sunday, the Reverend Travis Smith and I are going to talk about the mythological roots of Jesus's birth story, which is found in Luke's gospel and in Matthew's gospel, but not in Mark and John, which might make you question the story. But it really does not lose its power simply because it's a myth. And then the following Sunday, we're going to do all music. We're going to do a 2-hour service of all music. And if 2 hours sounds daunting, please feel free to leave anytime you want to.
You won't want to leave.
There you go, Darla. Bless your heart. Just in case any of you didn't hear that, she said you won't want to leave. And then the following Sunday, we're having our annual meeting where we will elect our officers for next year. We are living through a time that stretches the limits of sanity. Way too much war, hatred, vain posturing, finger pointing, and what appears to be an utter and complete lack of mutual respect. We have been given this gorgeous quote from Maya Angelou, and I'm going to read it again. If you must look back, do so forgivingly. If you must look forward, do so prayerfully. However, the wisest thing that you can do is be present in the present, gratefully. Just exactly what is present in the present? And how do we stay present when it is raining so hard, both literally and metaphorically? Bob Dylan predicted a hard rains are going to fall. And son of a gun if he wasn't right. Maybe staying present will be a lifeboat. Maybe it will keep us between the ditches. Some of you will not be surprised to learn that when I was 12 years old, I became a deluded child evangelist. Yes, I did. I was convinced that the Spirit was calling me to organize all the 12-year-olds in the world. And we would end war and hunger, preventable childhood diseases, and put a community health clinic and a performing arts center in every Middlesex village and town in the whole world. It didn't work. Somewhere along the line, I had to refocus my life's purpose, which led me to public relations, journalism, radio commentary with my partner, Meg Barnhouse, recycling waste oil, pizza delivery, television production, and finally, Unitarian Universalist ministry. At the heart of my spiritual journey, I fell in love with Unitarian Universalism. I believe it teaches the eightfold path of Buddhism, the absolute surrender to the ultimate found in Islam, the justice of the Jews, the love of nature found among the Celts and the Wiccans, the thorough yet gentle skepticism of atheists and agnostics, and the way, the truth, and the life of Jesus. As my colleague in Bluffton, Charlie Tyler, likes to say, we look for the good in everything. But somewhere during my various life stories, people started thinking I'm crazy. Can you imagine such a thing? Now, let me offer a quick disclaimer. I know there are advocates in the mental health world who object to the use of the word crazy. It feels insulting and off-putting and demeaning and mocking to people who are dealing with various mental health challenges. That's not the kind of crazy I'm talking about. This is the kind of crazy Willie Nelson sang about when he admitted he was crazy for feeling so lonely, crazy for trying and crazy for crying, and crazy for loving you. That's it. Jeff Bridges won an Oscar for playing a country music singer in a movie called Crazy Heart. That's it. Waylon Jennings sang I've Always Been Different with one foot over the line, winding up somewhere one step ahead or one step behind. It ain't been so easy, but I guess I shouldn't complain. I've always been crazy. It keeps me from going insane. And I'm crazy about you. And I'm crazy about you. And I'm crazy about you. So many of you have been my friends for the past 4.5 years, and I'm crazy about you. Really, really crazy. But others of you who barely know me and need to count on the solid and irreversible fact that I'm crazy about you too. Kat, I'm crazy about you. We just met. Joyce, Karen, no pressure, Karen. I'm crazy about you too. 17 years ago, I had a mystical experience after breaking up with a girlfriend. Lord, have mercy. It led me to believe that for me at least, it is important to be crazy about that which is present in the present moment. The here and now is infinitely and irrevocably more real, more worthy of our attention than anything we might make up to go in its place. Here and now. That which is present in the present moment is deserving of our attention, our love, maybe even what Jeff Bridges called a crazy heart. Remember the delicious quote from Maya Angelou. I'm going to read it again. If you must look back, do so forgivingly. If you must look forward, do so prayerfully. But the wisest thing you can do is stay present to that which is present gratefully. Emerson famously said, 2 men look out through prison bars. One sees mud and the other sees stars. But now, which of those 2 men was present to that which is present? If we apply Maya Angelou's standard, it's the one who saw stars. But weren't both of them present? The man who saw stars may have been more grateful, but they were both aware of what was going on. Both of them could see that the United States had elected a deeply flawed and perhaps unbalanced man as president, while the state of North Carolina had elected a reasonable and distinguished man as governor. And how is it that people who voted against Mark Robinson could not see that their candidate for president had some of his same qualities? Is it possible that reality, that which is really going on, has more to it than vote totals? Gosh, I hope so. What is really going on? When we are present to that which is present in gratitude, what exactly are we paying attention to? And this is the point at which some of my dearest friends start to question my sanity. I think reality is soaked in a generous spirit. It goes by many names, so don't try to pin me down. In fact, I believe it is so sacred, so divine, so ultimately powerful that we cannot call it by any name. It is ineffable. It is nameless, formless, beyond characterizing, but unifying, pervasive, penetrating, and pure. The fact that we cannot name it does not mean that it does not deserve our presence to it. It's the reason I encourage us to breathe together, to see the light that's coming from the sun together, to see the beauty in nature, so that we will remember that we are utterly dependent on the same water and food needing sleep and shelter to maintain good health, living by the light of the same sun. In those respects, we are all united, all in this together. Yes, but as we notice Bob Dylan's hard rain falling in our own evil government, in so many places worldwide through war, famine, bone-crushing poverty, and homelessness, are we not desperate not to pay attention? How in the world could Maya Angelou ask us to be present to that which is present gratefully with all the horror that's going on? Among the very best of us are people who quite literally and some of the time stick our heads in the sand. Of course, there are times when all of us are tempted to stick our heads in the sand. Most of you probably already know this, but I am a mystic. Well, what in the Sam Hill is that? A mystic is someone who has walked in the woods and been overwhelmed with the sense that something more than the sounds of birds singing or the rustling of the leaves is holding things together. A mystic may not be able to name it, but has no doubt that it is there. A mystic is someone who can be beaten in the face with his own shoes, as I was in the 8th grade, and still come back to an almost goofy belief in the basic goodness of all people. 14-year-old Anne Frank, before she was slaughtered by the Nazis in a death camp, wrote these words: "In spite of everything, I still believe that people are really good at heart. I simply cannot build up my hopes on a foundation consisting of confusion, misery, and death. I see the world gradually being turned into a wilderness. I hear the ever-approaching thunder, which will destroy us too. I can feel the sufferings of millions, and yet, if I look up into the heavens, I think that it will all come right, that this cruelty too will end, and that peace and tranquility will return again." End of quote. It's one thing to be beaten up in the 8th grade. It's quite another at that same age to be marched into a gas chamber and have your life snuffed out. And yet we came to the same conclusion. As crazy, insane, and ridiculous as it may sound, we both had a mystical faith that people are basically good at heart. A mystic is a person who believes we do the best we can and leave the ultimate outcome in the nameless, formless, great whatever. That mysticism drove my first wife crazy. I overheard her on the phone one time with a friend saying, "He's even reading a book published by whatever publishing company." If I've told this story before, please forgive me. When I became a Methodist preacher in 1993, I was tested by a psychologist. The test ran most of the day. As we came to the end of the day, the psychologist met with me to give me my results. He told me a number of things which made sense to my somewhat deluded and strangely wired brain. Then he gave me his final conclusion. He asked me, he said, "Mr. Jobe, you know all preachers are crazy, right?" I said, "That sort of made sense to me." He said, "I've been doing this for 25 years. And he said, you are the most comfortable being crazy of any preacher I have ever tested." I mean, if you have to be diagnosed as crazy, you might as well be comfortable with it, right? So let us go out from this place into the world, determined to be generous and compassionate, even as we have to deal with the greedy and uncaring around us. Let us give in the spirit of confidence that as long as we live, there will always be more to give, more energy, more money, more attention, more space, more physical effort, more and better listening. Let our confidence always outrun our fear, our joy always outrun our sorrow, our happiness always outrun the latest election returns. And let us deeply and enthusiastically prepare for the next election, the next chance to lobby our representatives, the next chance to write a check to the ACLU, Planned Parenthood, and the National Immigration Law Center. Blessings on you all.
You got to talk back now. So, who would like to share some of their reflections or thoughts?
Oh boy, another crazy person.
I was going to say that, but you beat me to it. Speaking about the prison system and stuff, I was a CO for 9 years, and there was this beautiful prison up in the mountains, and the guys were looking out, and some of them saw the beautiful mountains, and the others saw the fence.
Right.
It's just what you were saying. And one other quickie, I worked in a youth prison for Christmas vacation, and that was horrible. And I wrote a little story about it, as a matter of fact, and one of the lines was, I wonder if anybody's going to come to visit their kids in this prison. And then I wrote, maybe they killed the people that would have come. It was tough place.
Arvin, I'm not going to comment on your sanity.
Well,
Come on, Arvin, come over here. The people at home want to hear you too.
I think for the first time since the election, the feeling of despondency that has come over me was slightly taken away by today's sermon, and I want to thank.
In this wake of this election and everything else, I had a rather uplifting experience just yesterday at a gas station in Lincoln. Guys pull in behind me and comment on my California plate. Struck up a conversation. Conversation instantly went to the election. Trump supporters talking about how things are going to improve. But they brought on the conversation in a way that was very friendly, open, and we talked about various things, economics of California, and liberal, progressive actions and conservative actions. It was a very enlightening conversation. And I think that that's what's going to help all of us rebuild the community, by having conversations with otherwise friends with differing opinions.
I just wanted to say that I am grateful for Reverend Jobe's sermon. I really needed that. And I am grateful for being here today in the present with you. It makes a difference. It helps with so much. I have been listening to Reverend Jobe's sermons online, so it was especially important to me to be here for one today in the present. And I will continue to listen to them online after I go back to Texas. I'm a mystic too. I could talk all day about that, but I really did like what you said. And one more thing I'd just like to mention, I think many of you probably already know about this, but my daughter Karen here, who lives in Cornelius, and I, we went to a wonderful exhibit at the Kane Museum, which is fairly new. We heard a wonderful video about Afro-Indigenous peoples. I didn't even know that there were Afro-Indigenous peoples. So I felt that I learned something really important that's new. And also there's an exhibit there about Native Americans called Generations. And it's just wonderful. So I thought if there was anyone here who didn't know about that, I needed to say something.
Thank you so much.
So thank you.
I should preface this by saying that a few years ago, I was in the ordination process to become an Episcopal priest, and I was kicked out after my psychological evaluation. No. But I think I was misunderstood. But I did want to second what you said, Pat, because I think creative craziness is so important. It's the only way we're going to see the way forward. We can't rely on what has always worked in the past. So we're crazy. Creative.
Outside the box.
Thank you so much. Jane and I have known each other a long time. Long time.
Anyone else?
Thanks, Karen.
Thank you. I was going to say, Pat, if loving you is wrong, I don't want to be right. All right, and mic is up.
Once again, Eddie's learning this song right now.
Not that one. There we go.
I've always been crazy in the trouble that it's put me through. Been busted for things that I did and I didn't do. I can't say I'm proud of all the things that I've done, but I can say I never intentionally hurt anyone. I've always been different, with one foot over the line, winding up somewhere one step ahead or behind. It ain't been so easy, but I guess I shouldn't complain. I've always been crazy, but it's kept me from going insane. Beautiful lady, are you sure that you understand the chances you're taking, loving a free loving man? Are you really sure you really want what you see? Be careful of something that's just what you want it to be. Eddie Gunn.
I've always been crazy, but it's kept me from going insane. Nobody knows if it's something to bless or to blame. So far I ain't found a rhyme or a reason to change. Yeah, I've always been crazy, but it's kept me from going insane. Yeah, I've always been crazy, but it's kept me from going insane.
All right. Now it's time for us to share our gifts. The gifts are part of making sure that this fellowship thrives and has the capacity to help others. Our contributions allow us to sustain and grow our congregation and to reach out to the community. So as the basket is passed, if you have a gift to share, if you'll just put that in, that would be great. And you're going to play while we're doing it? Oh, sure. Okay. So with grateful hearts, we receive these gifts. May they encourage us to live lives of integrity, compassion, and peace. And in addition to our financial gifts, we're also grateful to everyone whose work has made today's service possible, and people that have led our outreach with our animals or feed NC, every way that people help make this congregation and what we're able to do grow and help our community. So now I would like to do announcements, and I know, Doug, you said that you had one in particular you wanted to share.
So this past week, Pat and I took a load of items up to Boone, to the hospitality house up there. They service 7 communities that have been affected by the hurricane. And we call ahead to see what they need, and then we try to get what we can. And you guys have been just great giving stuff. We had stuff from Forest City, had a big check going from Forest City. Plus Rev here donated a lot of stuff this past week. We took a ride up to Virginia, friends up there, got money, which is always great. And we got a porta crib. They need a porta crib up there. We were able to get a porta crib. We took it up this past week, where it take up a load of diapers. They needed diapers. We took up a load of diapers up there this past week, and gas cards. We took up $200 worth of gas cards. So now what they're doing is the hospitality, and they met with FEMA, and their goal this past couple of days was to get in the communities, to get everybody into shelter before the cold weather hit and the snow. And they said, we'll do it, but it's going to take a big effort. What they're trying to do now for the Christmas season is gather items. They have 150 people in the hospitality house they're housing now, and it's now it's filling up more and more people. And they reach out and give them a bag for Christmas. And they said they would like to have, if it's possible, any donations. They know the Lake Norman you use now. They know the name of that, and they know us. And so Pat has the name, address, and so forth. If you like to give a gift, monetary gift, and send it up there, it'll help give somebody there that's down and out a little better Christmas. So we have we got to see what happens here. Hopefully we may take another ride up mid-December. We have a friend that wants to give a big check for diapers, so we'll load up and take it up there. But Speedway, it's a Speedway up there. Our favorite place in Lenore, because we come in each week and we get $200 worth of gas cards there. So it's been good up there. But we didn't know on the way home. If you ever go up there, on the way home, there's a sock manufacturer. Everybody knows a sock in Lenore. So we stopped there and we gave money there too. It's kind of cool. Say what? Oh, there was a gentleman on the side of the road as we're going in, and there was a lot of traffic, so I missed it on the way out. We stopped, had a conversation. He was a combat vet from Tennessee. Had to relocate from Tennessee because of the storm into Boone, and was looking on the side of the highway for money, handouts, and so forth. We gave him money, but we also told him that he was only about a half a mile from the hospitality house, which had bed and food. Didn't know it. So we called the hospitality house, and they said, he's up here at the stop sign, and they said, we'll send somebody out and get him food and a place to stay. So it was good.
Nice.
Have the address if you need it.
I was going to say, so if people wanted to write a check while they're waiting, could they give it to you today, or would you
We'll be
prefer?
sending some again, and we always send it saying from you, church, and for a city, and I have, so eventually,
Yeah.
if anybody wants to do it.
Sure, good.
Yeah, our congregation, we rarely top 8 people at our meetings at the UU in Forest City, but we're tough. We're hanging in there, and we really have been able to be a channel for lots of giving, not only in Boone, but also locally. We work with a lot of poor people locally, and we recently housed a family that had a newborn baby. I think the baby's now 3 weeks old. So, and if you look at my Facebook page, you see a picture of her. Her name is Judy. But I'm sorry?
I said, send her to me.
The newborn baby? Well, I don't know how mom and dad would feel about that. But I'll talk to them. But the other reason I got up is because we had 4 people who are associated in different ways with this congregation at Friday Action Hour this past Friday. We lost the override. The governor's veto of HB 10 was overridden. So now sheriff's departments in North Carolina are going to be required to participate with ICE and pick up undocumented immigrants, which is a real bruise on North Carolina. I mean, it's just nasty. But also HB 10 moved $500 million from the state's surplus into aid for private schools. And our public schools are crying. They're crying for more money. And the General Assembly sent $500 million to the private schools. These are the kinds of issues that we work on every Friday, 11 o'clock in the morning. And the link is in the newsletter every week. The newsletter comes out on Thursday. We meet at 11 o'clock on Friday morning. So please come. It's about, I'd say, 10 congregations across North Carolina. Asheville, both of the other 2 congregations in Mecklenburg County, Chapel Hill, Raleigh, Durham, Wilmington, a lot of the larger UU congregations have people at these meetings, and we're doing good work, y'all. We got beat on HB 10, but we're still in the struggle. So join us Friday morning, 11 o'clock.
Any other announcements, Linda?
We're gonna go to Fusion Bowl today for dinner, so.
Okay.
And Cornelius.
In Courtney, that's where Karen lives. So if you'd like to join for dinner, it's right after service at Fusion Bowl in Cornelius, okay? And then Tuesday is, the movie is Wicked, right?
It's wicked, but I recommend getting seats ahead of time because it's half sold out right now.
Okay. Any other announcements? I have one other political announcement. If you have time, if you will contact our senators, which I know are probably not the most people that are going to be most interested, but there's a bill that we need to stop that would give the administration the right to strip 501c3s of their status if they declared them a terrorist organization. And you can just see who will be a terrorist organization, Planned Parenthood, the ACLU, all those. It's a huge bill and it's scary. So if you have a second, please drop a note, make a call, whatever, to our senators to say, guys, don't do it. So anyway, all right, closing song. That is going to be, let me find my program. Gather the Spirit, which is in the Gray Book. And 347.
Okay, last time we did this, we got like a C minus. Gather the spirit, harvest the power, our sacrifice will kindle a flame. Witness the mystery of this hour, our trials and light appear all the same. Gather in peace, gather in thanks, gather in sympathy now and then. Gather in hope, compassion, and strength, gather to celebrate once again. Gather the spirit of heart and mind, seeds on our soul and laid in store, nurtured in love, conscious refined, our bodies united once more. Gather in peace, gather in thanks, gather in sympathy now and then. Gather in hope, compassion, and strength, gather to celebrate once again. Gather the Spirit, growing in all, round by the moon and fed by the sun. Winter to spring, summer to fall, the chorus of life resounding as one. Gather in peace, gather in thanks, gather in sympathy now and then. Gather in hope, compassion, and strength, gather to celebrate once again.
C plus.
And now Pat will give us our closing words.
Those of you who listened very carefully to what Jane Pope had to say, you will find that she is an editor with Chat GBT. I put our closing words into AI, and this is what I got back. Crazy can be a powerful, positive attribute when viewed through the lens of creativity and boldness. Embracing the unconventional, crazy thinkers challenge norms and push boundaries, leading to innovation. Their willingness to take risks and pursue seemingly impossible ideas often sparks groundbreaking progress in art, science, and technology. Far from being reckless, this crazy energy fosters new perspectives, encourages resilience in the face of failure, and inspires others to think outside the box. In a world that thrives on conformity, those who embrace their wild, crazy instincts are often the ones who drive meaningful change.
Okay. Pat, did you walk off with my stuff, please?
I may have. Yeah.
We're now going to extinguish the chalice, and as we close our services, Let's join together, please, in saying the words in the order of service. We extinguish this chalice, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we meet again. Next week, I'm on the guitar.